For humans, we've dumped that sense of smell. We don't have a very strong sense of smell. We've replaced it with culture, which includes things like religion and other identities that have allowed us to have shorthands for those things that bacteria and viruses and salmon do, but it's the same thing. It's identifying self versus non-self, and we identify with a group that is in conflict to another group very quickly. We identify that group very well. You see it at a university. They identify with the team mascot almost immediately upon getting on campus, even though they've come from all different places, because they're supposed to be against another group. That's a trivial example, but it happens in every kind of human society. And one of the things we talk about is, how do you get past these worded idealisms? How do you create partnerships or break through conflict when people are so entrenched in this self-identity? And one of the great things a working group member, Scott Atran, who's an anthropologist, who's interviewed thousands of the most radical Israelis, the most radical Palestinians, the most radical Muslims, and tried to figure out what would make them come to the bargaining table, he found out that it really isn't some material good or something very concrete you can offer someone to say, give up that ideology you have and we'll give you this. That almost always backfires and causes people to pull further back into their identity and be further against you. What he found is that symbolic trade-offs, things that you can offer to a group that they value very much, that actually don't cost you that much to give away, or may not cost you that much to give away, can be incredibly powerful for breaking through those intransigent conflicts. And I'll give you two quick examples. First one, when we wanted to open diplomatic relationships with China, we sent a bunch of ping pong players. The US sent a bunch of ping pong players to China, and they got their asses kicked by the Chinese ping pong players. And guess what? No one in America cared at all. But for the Chinese, it was a huge symbolic victory. That is one of their national sports. But they saw that this superpower that they didn't know that much about wasn't afraid to lose face on this international stage. And so it was a symbolic gesture that didn't solve major problems, it just opened the door to it. And the second more recent example, you may have seen this in the film Invictus. Nelson Mandela, when he came to power in South Africa, was urged by his party members to abolish the Springbok rugby team, which they saw as a vestige of white rule, of apartheid. And he said, no, I realize the symbolic importance of the colors and the name and the team of the Springboks to white South Africans. And it doesn't actually cost us that much, except an opportunity missed for petty revenge to get rid of this team. So we're going to keep it and elevate it. And that was a symbolic gesture to white South Africans that his government wasn't going to be about just annihilating and getting full revenge for what had perpetrated before. So those are two quick examples of how to break through intractable conflicts.